the edge. Maya just started the recording. Okay, so can you all still hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Okay. Please forgive me. My husband is trying to call, but it will beep a couple times and then stop. So okay. So when things are at their darkest, when we're without power, that's when the lights really, really start doing their most beautiful radiance around the corona of the sun. And something else that I learned when Susan and I, in the snowstorm, we had a snowstorm the other day and the power went out. And so I took Susan up on an invitation to go with her to the Atwater Library and see a lecture. And do you remember the name of the fellow who gave the lecture?
No, it's
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. We're a young scientist gave a lecture, and he said there are three phenomena, but I'm going to speak to two today. One is the corona around the shadow. The other is, if you look 360 degrees at the horizon, it is like a sunset or a sunrise all around the horizon at the edges of the shadow, which is thousands of miles away. And because the light is coming in from thousands of miles away, it is coming through a lot of atmosphere, and therefore it is like the evening or the morning light, which when it first peaks over the horizon is coming through a lot of atmosphere, and that's why it's so colorful. So all around you, circling all around you, is this beautiful, beautiful light in the darkest moment. And this speaks to, that the corona speaks to actually being a corona, a crown, is speaks to the light of the mind. And the light of the mind is there to guide us just one step at a time. We may not even feel it in our dark moments. We may not know we are one with the light in our dark moments. But the light of the mind is there to guide us just one step, and then the next step, and then the next step. And it might be just to rest and sit back and wait. It might be to take the next step forward. But that is how it works. Like the headlights on a dark highway, you see as much of the highway as you need to see, so you know where you're going next. So the light never goes away. That was something else the gentleman pointed out to us the other day, is that this sunrise and sunset way of shining the light around the rim of the earth that surrounds us is always there. But we cannot see it in the brightness of the full daylight. But it is still there, that sunlit hue that you get until the light is obscured, and then you can see it. But the moon itself, which covers the sun, is just in perfect proportion to do that. He also pointed out that nowhere else in the solar system can you get a total eclipse like you do on Earth, because of the size of our moon and the ratio it has in distance to the sun. It perfectly covers the sun, like no other moon for any other planet does. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know about all the galaxies, if there's any total eclipses. I would imagine there must be somewhere. But the light of the mind is the corona within us. The light of the circle of light around us, it's what we're forming right now. It's the circle of love that always surrounds us. We're here with our friends. We're encircled with love right now. In these circumstances, just the way they are, love is present. Now, every religion has picked up on that, and I focused in on two religions this week. One because we just had Easter, and the other because we have been in Ramadan, which is the high holy days of Islam. And we are completing Ramadan. Ramadan finishes; it's complete. Starting this week, and we are doing the 3 days of the festival of what's called Eid al-Fitr, which is the feast of the completion or the end of Ramadan, and so we are honoring Islam and Christianity today and Tuesday when we get together for our class. So in honor of Islam, I'd like to share a brief passage from the Quran, from Surah. That's how the Quran is divided. The Bible is divided into chapters. They're called surahs in the Quran. From Surah 24, verses 34 and 35, God is the light of the heavens and the earth. The lightness of God's light is a niche wherein is a lamp. The lamp is a glass, the glass as it were a glittering star, kindled from a blessed tree, and olive that is neither of the east nor the west, whose oil well nigh would shine, even if no fire touched it. Light upon light. So everything that grows, that lives, that thrives, that comes from light, has its own light. Has its own light. This is what this passage is telling us, and it uses the blessed tree. In the Quran, there is a tree of immortality, they call it, a tree of immortality, just like we have the tree of life in the Bible. Now, the thing about a tree, the metaphor of a tree, shows up in a lot of religions because it is a symbol of starting with the dark roots and reaching up into the light. So it is connected to light in that it reaches up toward the light and it drinks in and has its own shining light as well. So the tree of immortality and the tree of life, what is it about those that can frustrate us human beings? It's according to both scriptures. We've been cut off from the tree of life, just like Adam and Eve sent out of the garden, and the tree of life was guarded lest they eat of the fruit and live eternally. And the same, it's very similar passages in the Quran about the same thing, about how humanity has been separated from the tree of life, but not really, because the tree of life is within us. The tree of life is the life stream, the healing light, the light of life that moves throughout our being, from the roots of our feet that ground into the earth, up through the trunk of our bodies, out the limbs and the mind. There's a central channel, and then there are many branches off that central channel. We have the light of life flowing through us right now. So how can we be separated from it? Well, with Adam and Eve, it was this dualistic thinking, this judgmental, value-placing, dualistic thinking that cut them off from their sense of something that is their very nature, which is eternal life, which is life itself. It's the fear and the trepidation and the self-degradation that really pulls us separately from that tree. Now, never fear, because there is access to it once again, because you can't stay always separate from something that's always there anyway. Just in your own mind. By not realizing the pure light that you are, like the Quran says, light upon light. Anything created from the light of God is light and life itself. So the tree of life is within you. Now, at this point in my presentation, I was going to impress everybody by showing you a slide of the Tree of Life from Bahrain, where I lived for 2 years and visited that tree. It is one of the great wonders of nature in the world, and here is why. Because this great tree, which is more than 400 years old, is a mesquite tree. And mesquite trees are supposed to live maximum about 125 years. This one has lived for more than 400 years. And it is the largest mesquite tree that anyone ever knows. It's a great tree that sprawls everywhere. And it does so in the middle of the desert where nothing else grows, where no other trees or plants are growing. And it is also in the ancient lore of the Arabic world. It is also considered to be the spot of the Garden of Eden. So they consider this special tree the tree of life. And let's see if I can. Shajarat al-Hayah. That's its Arabic name. Shajarat al-Hayah. The tree of life. And it remains there and draws people to it. That's mostly if there are beautiful things to see in Bahrain if you're a tourist. But the first thing everyone wants to see is this miraculous tree. Is this tree of life in the middle of the island. And it is said that it most likely survives because mesquite trees tend to send down one great taproot. And its taproot has gone so deep that it has tapped into the fresh water that runs under the island of Bahrain. Bahrain literally means two waters. And it refers to the salt water that surrounds it as an island and the fresh water that runs underneath. And and this tree has reached all the way down to that. So we are like the tree of life because we are the tree of life. So I'm going to use that metaphor to share how we can go into the light, how we can embrace the light, how we can let the light of the mind light us up and guide us, how we can let the light of love that surrounds us fill us with comfort and healing. And there are 4 aspects of the tree of life that I'd like to share. And the first is that deep taproot. Because what does that tell us as far as supporting ourselves with the energy of life? It's saying go deeply into your source of life. And how do we do that in unity or in any spiritual practice for that matter? We meditate. We meditate. And when we meditate, until we see or feel that life stream moving throughout our whole being, feel that light moving throughout your whole being. That is the light of pure energy, of pure life in you. So tap deeply into the source of life. Then we look to the trunk of the tree. If you see this tree, you will see a trunk that's gnarled and weathered, and because they get pretty harsh weather in the Middle East, especially when those sandstorms come across. And yet you will see it weathering everything. The heat, it gets hot. It gets very hot. Now, what was what's the temperature in the, I mean, it gets up around what, 28, 32, something around there in the summertime, centigrade. And of course, 115 to 120 in the, in Fahrenheit terms, in the summer. And yet this tree weathers it all. It weathers it all. And this is the trunk of this is the core of you. The core of you consists, like the rings of a tree. The core of you consists of your life experiences, year after year after year. And there's no experience you need to bemoan or regret. You may choose not to have that experience again. You may choose to practice forgiveness around the really tough experiences. But every experience has put another ring of strength and protection at the very core of your being. It has strengthened you, every experience. And I'm not talking about the physical Arnold Schwarzenegger style of strength. I'm talking about the strength. My dad was a great unity teacher. And he said the power of strength in the 12 powers is the power of endurance. It's the power of endurance. It's to live day after day after day with whatever is happening in your life, to walk according to the light of your mind and to let yourself be strengthened through every experience. The third thing are these great sprawling limbs, and off of the limbs, the branches. Now, on the tree of life in Bahrain, the limbs are so large that somebody could climb up and lay down on a limb and take a nap. I mean, that's how big they are. They produce multiple branches, which produce multiple leaves. And because of this, this is also a life-giving tree. Because it's in the middle of the desert, it provides shade and shelter and comfort for people. They don't have to lie on the hot sand. They can actually recline on one of the great limbs that reach. They're low to the ground, so that reaches out. And this is what we are called to do. When we know we have that inner strength, when we know we are deeply rooted in spirit, we can reach out with our mental and emotional waves or limbs of love. And we can shade people. We can comfort people right from where we are, just by our thoughts and our prayers. Some of the most powerful connections I've made with people didn't have a single word to them. And finally, the fourth is now the mesquite tree isn't very good for food, but there are a lot of trees that are around the island of Bahrain, around the coast. Bahrain was known for its dates, and to be known for your dates in the Middle East is a big deal because a lot of dates grow in the desert of the Middle East. But around the edges of Bahrain, all kinds of date palms grow, and where you have chocolate shops in other parts of the world, you have date shops in Bahrain with a multiple. I don't know if you know, there are 26 kinds of dates, and they candy. They put them in chocolate. They sugar them. They put nuts in them. They put candies in them. There are all kinds of dates that are just so delectable, and that's the fruit of the date palm. But whatever your fruit is what you can do and produce in your life to benefit yourself and others. So you can do the actions that actually nurture others, which we're all doing today, with patience, with our power outage, and with my talk right now. So and then once you know that you're someone who gives in special ways to others, then acknowledge yourself for that giving. And in that way, you get to taste the sweetness of your own fruit. Acknowledge yourself. That's what we often have trouble doing. Remember to acknowledge yourself for what you've accomplished in life. So with those four things, reach deeply into the source of life within you. Let your life experiences build your strength. Reach out to touch the lives of others. Act in ways that make a contribution to others and to yourself. And taste the fruit, the sweet nectar of the fruit, with self-acknowledgement. These are the ways we can always access the light, even when it seems totally obscured otherwise. So take a deep breath. And just as I invited us to do a few moments ago, close your eyes and just for a moment, let a root reach out from your mind down to your heart, a channel of light, light upon light. And connect yourself to that light. And let that light stream throughout your being, from the crown of your head down to your feet and out into the earth. And then back up from the earth, up to your heart and out to your limbs and through your spine and your brain, through all your organs. Let the light of life fill your being right now, healing what needs to be healed and blessing you in every way. And once again, take a deep breath. And know that even though it may seem obscured for a time, the light is always there. Because you are the tree of life. You cannot ever be separated from it, only in your own mind. Just remember who you are, one with that light. And in the book of Revelation, we return to the tree, and it says, in the last chapter, then the angel showed me the river of the water of life, that is, that river of light, bright as crystal, flowing from the throne of God and of the Lamb, through the middle of the street of the city. On either side of the river is the tree of life. That's because the river runs up and down the center of your being. So the tree of life within you is on either side of it. On either side of the river is the tree of life. And here's one for Unity people with its 12 kinds of fruit. And we will be doing a Tree of Life 12 Powers meditation this Tuesday with its 12 kinds of fruit, producing its fruit each month. And here's the most beautiful part of all. And the leaves of the tree are for the healing of the nations. So your leaves, your fruit is for the healing of the nations. Everything you do in your part of the world affects the whole world. Okay. Oh, and I wanted to read this because I got special permission to do so, but you know what? I will move on with the service and let Marco know, who gave me permission to read his Tree of Life poem. Please attend Tuesday, because I'll read it then at the end of our Tree of Life meditation there. Wednesday. I'm sorry. I did years of Tuesday classes. Wednesday class, and that's an announcement right there. Okay. So thank you, and God bless you. Moving from talk to announcements, the Wednesday class at 12:15.